Good morning, good afternoon, Kip Ascend Middle School, 7th grade. Hi, this is Mr. Navarro. Today we are going to pick up where we left off in our Amplify lessons on our populations and resources unit. So please go ahead and move to our assignment for today. Go ahead and click on your classwork notes. You can go ahead and download this to your computer, fill in the notes as we go along. It's pretty straightforward. This lesson should be under 20 minutes, so we are going to get started right away. So please tune in, pay attention, and I hope you enjoy it.
In rainforests across the equator, most frogs lay their eggs and abandon them. But one determined frog stands by his young. The reticulated glass frog. It's named for its transparent skin. His organs hard at work. He's got nothing to hide. Mom is nowhere to be found. Dad alone guards the clutch 24/7 until the eggs become tadpoles. Sometimes this means defending his brood from their worst enemy. Squadrons of carnivorous rainforest wasps take to the air. A deadly threat for a frog. They're aggressive, persistent, venomous, and nearly as big as the glass frog himself. They're not interested in him. They want his eggs. But Dad is not willing to give them up without a fight. He was built for this.
Go ahead and jot down your ideas about what would cause the number of births in the population to increase. Take about 30 seconds, please. So we had discussed that some of the factors that allow births to increase would be an increase in food supply, a decrease in predators. Things like that would always cause the number of births to increase, and more importantly, the ability for those organisms that were born to survive. So for today, our aim for today is to explain the role of energy in a population. In order for a population to increase its number, in order for them to overcome the number of deaths that occur every day and every moment, there needs to be reproduction. In order for reproduction to occur, energy is necessary. So today we're going to read a few articles that help us understand that concept. So on your notes, you can go ahead and record our aim for today. And we're going to go kind of zoom back into where we were when we left off. So once again, please follow along as we go through this as a class. Congratulations on your progress in investigating the changes to the moon jelly population in the Glacier Sea. You have determined that the population increased because there were more births than deaths in the moon jelly population since the year 2000. However, what could have caused the births to increase or deaths to decrease? Today, you will read the Reproduction and Energy article set to begin to learn more about what can cause the amount of reproduction in a population to change. Remember, our overarching unit question was, why do populations change size in an ecosystem? What, meaning, other words, why don't they just stay the same over time? And our specific Chapter 2 question, which is new for us since we're just starting Chapter 2, what could have caused the births to increase or the deaths to decrease in that moon jelly population? Once again, we're going to be reading about other organisms' populations and trying to find similarities with that of the moon jelly population. So, if you continue to scroll down, you'll notice we have our reading. This is the introduction portion of our article. You will find the link to the rest of the readings that you will be doing for homework on your Amplify login. So make sure that you still have access to your Amplify. You'll log in. You will click to the second part of today's activity, which is the reading. And you will click on the Reproduction and Energy article set. So once you click onto that set, you will notice that we have the article that we will be reading together here on our notes. And then, after you move through this, you will be able to scroll through the next set of articles for the sockeye salmon, the emperor penguins, the firefly, and the elephant seal. So, for our lesson, our joint lesson today, we are going to move through and just cover the first article, which is the Reproduction and Energy article. So once again, we can follow along. Note that all vocabulary is defined for you. As long as you click on the blue words, you can go ahead and jot those down as we go along. And let's get started.
Reproduction and Energy. Chapter 1. Reproduction requires energy. Reproduction is a lot of work. Some organisms travel thousands of miles to find a mate, the right place to lay eggs, or the right spot to give birth. They might work hard to attract mates using songs, movements, and other displays. Other organisms might fight fierce battles to win their mates and the chance to reproduce. Often this is just the beginning of the job. Many organisms work hard to protect their eggs, find food for their young, and do everything else that may be required for successful reproduction. No matter what an organism goes through to reproduce, the process requires lots of energy. In fact, for many organisms, reproduction requires more energy than anything else in their lives. Some don't even survive. Reproduction requires so much energy that these organisms reproduce and then die. Whether reproduction is relatively easy or extremely difficult, every organism needs energy in order to reproduce. Without energy, there can be no reproduction.
So, what do all organisms need in order to reproduce? Take a second and jot that down in your notes where it's asked. Moving on.
Organisms get the energy they need from energy storage molecules such as glucose, starch, and fat. These molecules store energy that can be released in the bodies of organisms when they need it. Plants and other producers can make their own energy storage molecules through photosynthesis, but other organisms can't do that. To get energy storage molecules, they need to eat food.
So, where does energy come from? Take a moment and jot that down in your notes.
What is food? Really? Food is the body parts of organisms that contain molecules, such as energy storage molecules, that other organisms need. Consumer population is the term ecologists use to talk about a population that eats other organisms for food. Ecologists call a population that is eaten for food a resource population. Every consumer population gets its energy storage molecules from a resource population. To learn about some specific populations and how they get the enormous number of energy storage molecules they need to release energy for reproduction, read one or more of the chapters that follow.
Okay. Remember, you can always go back to your Amplify and re-listen to those lessons, look at your definitions, and be able to answer questions as we move along. Now, your homework is to read the article for each of the following organisms: the elephant seals, the sockeye salmon, the emperor penguin, and the fireflies. You are going to answer the same question for each population. Where does this organism get the energy storage molecules to do the activities required for reproduction? So read each article carefully, take your time, and record your answers in the spaces provided. Now, for a little bit of our vocabulary, follow along. I'm going to be going back and forth between the PowerPoint so that you can get these definitions down. So now you know where we are on the notes document. So our first vocabulary word is reproduction, which is the process of creating offspring, new life from the same organisms. Energy is the ability to make things move or change. I'll give you a moment to copy those down. Energy storage molecules. These are molecules that an organism can use to release energy that they need to survive. And finally, the key concept, the key takeaway for today's lesson is as follows. Organisms need to release energy from energy storage molecules in order to reproduce. All right, so there you have it. Please take your time today, finish your work on the article readings. Once again, you can find those articles by logging into Amplify, Populations and Resources Unit, Chapter 2, Lesson 2.1. You can find the readings when you click on Activity 2. Click onto the Next button, and then read your article set. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Other than that, I hope you all are doing well, staying safe, staying busy, and I look forward to hearing from you tomorrow.